world, and welcome to Code or Not to Code. I'm Miliva. As always, I'm super happy to be here today with you and with Stefan. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Well, I'm doing so much better. Last week, I think I had a virus that starts with a C, but now we are transitioning to writing a language that starts with a C. I am auto-healed.
Oh my goodness, what a great start. That's a nice, that's a good way to make like a bad thing nice and also work for the show. Well done, awesome. I wish you'd tell me that before, because then I could have done that transition myself. No, of course, yes. If you're new to the show, hey, Eric, how are you doing? Welcome back. Thanks for joining. And if you're new to the show, the two of us meet every other week and code together and work on one of our amazing projects. You can also see our GitHub page here with all the social medias and stuff. So if you have a minute, just click on them, follow us, give us your follow if you want to keep up to date with our shows, with our upcoming shows, with topics, or if you obviously want to contribute or want to give recommendations or want to be on the show, give us a shout out. We always love to collaborate. But yeah, as I was saying before, if you're new to the show, we are working on a couple of different projects. And whether you're a pro like Stefan or a noob like me, I'm sure you'll be able to learn something on the show, whether it be from our successes or our failures. We're currently working on our Nullable Migrator, I believe we called him, didn't we? And so, if you want to adopt Nullable Reference Types to your project, our tool might help. But before we go into this, I guess we have a little trivia section. What have you got for us today?
We have quite some trivia, but also is our intro music, is that for sale?
Ooh, yes. I think so. We should give out CDs or something. CDs. Ooh. I've never sounded more millennial than I did right now. Oh my goodness. Yes, we should have little cassette tapes and then sign them.
I don't have an optical drive anymore. I couldn't read a CD.
No, me neither. I don't know why I said that. I wouldn't even know what to do with it. No, we should upload it on Spotify or something. No, thank you very much for noticing. We wrote that music ourselves. So yes, we do indeed actually own all the rights. And it was a really, really fun session. We should totally do a follow-up because, I'd never done anything like this before. So this is my first go at it. And I'm not very musical. I don't know if you've noticed from the tune. No, the tune is great.
I would claim the opposite.
Yes, we are very musical. Musically talented. Is that even like talented? Musically talented. Have an ear for music.
I would think so.
Yeah. Good.
I would think so.
All right. Trivia time. We have a lot of trivia today, right?
Because it's our last C# session.
Final. What?
No, not our last C# session. Oh, that was bad. Nullable. I looked into the wrong
we announced
dictionary index.
A retirement. This is why we're wearing all black today. It's a sad day.
No, never. Nullable, the last Nullable session.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of Nullable trivia.
We just started up SharpLab and we already see void here. Did you know that void is an actual type in the type system? If we go to source.net and if we search for system.void, this type actually exists in the BCL. There is a struct named void.
Nice.
But we can't use that. So we couldn't write system.void or just void uppercase since we already import system. We can't just use this like here. It actually says, no, system.void cannot be used from C#. However, this type does exist. If we go into the run mode and let's do a console.write line. Well, we cannot do a type of system.void either. But what we can do is a type of void. And this actually now gives us the type, the system.void type. And this could be useful if you are doing reflection and want to check the return type of your method via reflection. So let's do exactly that. That's via reflection. get this type of our class C. So we can do type of C, type of class. Then we can get, then we can get this method. We can say dot get method. No, get method. There we go. We give it the name of the method. In this case, it's M. Now, what we learned, type of method. I think was this in our first nullable trivia session? Oh, that's not type. That's method info. There we go. Method info. That's actually nullable. Because if we do get method, but this method doesn't exist, if I would say get method something, this method doesn't exist, therefore it will be null. But if the method does exist, then it will be not null. And we could now ask, this method info has a return type. And this return type, in case of void, is system.void. If this was, let's say, int, this would be now int dot, oh yeah, we need to return something because it's an int returning method, would be int32. Or if we would return a long, then it's a int64. Or if we return a byte, then it's a system.byte. And if it's void, well, method doesn't return anything. And we can also do a type check, or yeah, we can say this return type, is this equal to type of void, type of void. And this, in this case, now would return true. This is how you could check with reflection if a method is, well, from the perspective, null and void, well, the opposite part of null, a method that doesn't return anything, would be void, and how you can check if a method is void with reflection.
But why don't they let us use the type on its own?
System.void?
Yeah. Because, I mean, what would that even be? But yeah.
Well, it should really be the same thing, because there is also, if I do type of int, or type of system.int32, the int keyword really is an alias for the system.int32 type. So the language integrated int really aliases to system.int32, and yeah, we see that by if we do return an integer.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
We really see that's the system.int behind the hood. But I guess the language designers said void should only be referred to via the keyword. So the language is blocking. I think that's the. I'm not sure if there is really a technical. Actually, don't know. There may be a technical reason, but I think it's more a design aspect.
Interesting.
To void, there is only the void keyword for return types, and that's it.
And also, how did you find out about that? How do you know that? Is it? Did you know it from Shop Lab? Just no.
I did a talk, which I called Null and Void. Basically, you're talking about everything, but well, it's
now
90,
everything comes together. Yeah,
it's 90. It's a talk about nullable reference types, but I wanted to have a fancy title. Let's call it Null and Void. But I only talk about null 98% of the time. So let's talk 2% of the time about void, and then I've dug into the documentation and tried to understand what the keyword void really is.
That's really awesome.
And I guess this is how I found out. Yeah.
By the way, Stefan gives some amazing talks, and if you're interested in seeing some of them, head to our YouTube page because they're all up there.
You're very good at advertising. I love it.
You're very easy to advertise. Like if you've got a good product, advertising does itself.
Trivia number 1. We have 3 more trivias. Trivia number 2, what we also haven't discovered, is how does nullable types look in the C# compiler, in the syntax tree. Now, let's say here we have our int return type, and if we take a look at this method, we have here our method declaration. It has the public keyword, and the return type is the predefined type. Predefined type, those are the language aliases for for the system types. Like, for example, the int keyword is for int32. If I would write system.int32 here, that really is semantically identical. Syntactically, it looks different, but it's really at runtime, once it's compiled, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And now this no longer is a predefined type, but a qualified type, because we really have system dot, well, we have an identifier name and a dot token and another identifier name. We don't need to use system here because we already imported. So we could just write int32 in this type. In this case, it's just an identifier name. It could be any identifier. And if this identifier is a type, then it's valid. And when we do nullable, so when we add a question mark, what happens is now that this return type is wrapped in another node, because, well, in Rosland we have nodes.
Okay.
Nodes are not terminal, so nodes have another nodes or tokens.
Yep.
Where tokens are terminal, a token doesn't have additional nodes.
Yes.
And there's also trivia, like a comment. We also deal with trivia, or like nullable enable, something like this is also trivia. After compiled, trivia goes away, so you can't retrieve trivia after it has been compiled unless you store it somewhere else, like doc comments. You could store in some XML file and then bring it back via there. But from a compilation point of view, trivia goes away. And yeah, if we have a for example, a type. Now this is wrapped in another node, the nullable type node, which now contains as an element type, in this case, the identifier name. Or if we would use just int, then it would contain as a node the predefined type. So basically, if you have a type and if you want to check if this type was in C# written with a question mark or without a question mark, you would take a look if it is a nullable type or if it is the type directly.
All right.
Trivia number 3, there is a lot of attributes around nullable. So what if we would like to write something like a method that throws if null, or throw if null, and we pass in, let's say, a string. And what we want to do is, if the string is null,
Yep.
and we throw. And let's do an invalid operation exception. Because maybe I don't expect it to be null, so should it be null, then we throw. Let's get rid of this code here. Let's create a new instance of this type. And let's call this method .throw if null. So let us also here, let's this end method, let's call this get text. And this returns a nullable text, so this could return null. Or it could also return something not null. And let's get this text, string question mark text equals to instance.get. And then I call throw if null.
Yep.
And afterwards, maybe I want to get the length of the string and print it to the console. Now we get a warning here because get text returns a nullable string, not a non-nullable string. Therefore, the compiler doesn't know that this method throw if null, because the flow analysis, that's only doing static flow analysis. There is no dynamic flow analysis going on because this would be way too expensive at compile time. So the compiler doesn't go into this throw if null method and understands that if this parameter or the argument passed in here is null, we throw an exception and therefore stop execution. So this line would never be executed if this would be null. Okay. But we can help the compiler to give the compiler a hint to communicate these semantics. There is something like a post condition. We could say here not null. We could apply the not null attribute on this parameter, and now this warning disappears. Because if this text was null, let's actually run the code.
Yeah.
We get 8 because we have here 8 characters. But if this was null, if we were to return null, then we actually throw the exception here. And yeah, we don't really need to check for null here, because if we land on this line, text will not be null. Therefore, it can be safely dereferenced because of this not null. But we need to be careful not to lie to the compiler, because if we would remove this code, now, yeah, we still get this null reference exception, because when you use these attributes, the compiler trusts the author to have attributed this correctly.
Don't betray the compiler's trust. That would be awful. Christmas is coming. You're going to be nice. No, but that's really interesting. And then the warning, because usually I just do the little exclamation point.
I return what we have, the null forgiving operator, or the null damage operator.
And so, but the other one, is that bad, or should I?
Well, if you
attribute instead,
I guess it depends. If there isn't, because there is many of these attributes, there is 2 handful. Is it 10 or something attributes? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Almost a dozen. What's a dozen? It's a dozen 6, or a dozen is 12.
Is it not? Oh my god! No, half a dozen is 6. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna go.
Half a dozen is 6. Okay, so a dozen. It's almost
I don't
almost
trust
a dozen
myself at all, but I think 12.
Almost a dozen of attributes that we can use to give additional hints to the compiler. If one of these would apply to your code flow, it would be a good idea to apply it.
It's 12.
But but if you can't, if there is no attribute you can apply, but you're still 100% sure that when you end up here, it will not be null, then this is what the null forgiving operator really is for. Then you can do the dammit. But if there is a facility of applying this attribute, then I guess it would be a good idea. For example, this is what we had here is the not null. That's a post condition, so that's checked after the method has been called. There is also a not null when, I think there's an example.
Maybe null.
Maybe null.
I like that.
Come on. Maybe not. For example, when there's no example, no. But not null when. For example, we can something similar like a dictionary lookup. I should zoom in, right?
Yeah.
Similar to a dictionary lookup, we could say if this key exists, then the out string will not be null. So in other words, if the string exists, then we return true here. And if this Boolean is true, then this out message will not be null. If this key does not exist, the bool will be false and the message will be null. So what we could do is, have this out as a nullable, but then say not null when true. Let's paste this code in. Let's see if we can get that to compile. Let's say, let's do just something simple. Let's say we only have if the key exists. Oops. Then the message will be something, and we return true. Otherwise, the message will be null, and we return false. So what we can now do, we call this try get message. I should make it public, or at least internal. The default is private, so didn't see it earlier. We could wrap this in an if. And say try get message with exists. and we get an out string question mark message. And although the string is nullable here, if we would inside the if say console.writeLine message.length, let's comment this one out and fix the compiler error, we get, well, something as a length of 9. Or let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9 characters, and we don't get a null warning here because of this not null when. Without the not null when, we will get a warning here because I mean it's a nullable string. And also outside of this if, so let's say if we would do an else and we would write the same code in an else, we would get the warning again. Because in the else block, the return type of try-get message is false. Therefore, not null when true is not
fulfilled,
and therefore it will remain nullable.
Got it. Okay. Good.
Yeah. You could also have post conditions on properties. Let's say we have a text property. Let's also create a backing field. Private string, I call this backing field, per default empty, and the getter just returns it, and the setter sets it to value. But what if we would like to allow, for this instance, let's say if we do console.writeLine instance.text, maybe we get the length again so that we get a nullable warning. We want to make sure that when this property is get, it never returns null, but we may be allowed to set null to it. If we want to basically disjoint the get and the set, we could do this with a post condition, a precondition, and say, okay, well, maybe we should first do a proper implementation. In the case we do set null, then we could say if this value is null, then we say some default, whatever, or empty string. Let's say per default, if we set null, we want this to be empty string. But now we get a bunch of warnings because again, the compiler doesn't know that if we set this, then it will ensure that the string is never set to null here. But what we can do is now do an allow null, do a precondition and say, okay, when this is get, it never will be null. So basically inheriting this annotation. And in case of setting it, we do allow setting it to null, but we ensure under the hood that when it's returned, it never will be null. Well, we could also do it the other way around. We could say this backing field is nullable. So we basically now allow setting null there, but we make sure when it is returned, in case of null, we return an empty string, something like this. So still have the same contract fulfilled. And this also exists in the other way around. Like you could also do a disallow null, saying that, okay, this may return null, but we're never allowed to set null. So in the case of, if we set null, then we throw an exception, throw new invalid operation exception or some exception. I just threw an exception. This is bad to throw the generic empty exception, but something like this. So we really get here when we set it to null, we really get this exception here. But when we get it, it may be null. So we do need to do a proper null check here. But yeah, we do get the warning here. Don't set it to null. Always set it to something. So we also annotate it in the other way around with disallow null.
Ah, nice.
And well, there is many more. Like I still have them. Maybe we can go through them quickly here. Like a very famous one is actually how dictionary with the not null when true. Basically, had a look at this already. If we go to dictionary, of t key, t value. No, that's this one. And go to the try get method. Try get value. Try get value is annotated with, is not annotated like the example that we had, not null when true, but it's with the other way around, maybe null when false. This has to do with generics because this t value, this is unconstrained. So this t value could either be a value type or a reference type. And I'm trying to get it now. In case that this is a value type, it can never be null. But in case it's a reference type, it may be null. So this is why a question mark here wouldn't make sense, because there is, we learned it in a previous episode, there is a significant difference between a struct question mark and a class question mark, because there isn't if you do a value type question mark, that really isn't, that is then a different type. Because if I were to, let's say, do I still have the method here? For the fun of it, if we were to return, it doesn't compile. Let's just do here a int question mark abc. What it really compiles to is now a nullable of int. So that's a totally different type. But if this is a string, it is still that very same string. And so there's a significant difference between a value type being nullable and a reference type being nullable. And therefore, for unconstrained generics, you need to do it like the other way around, because we can't really add a question mark here, because a question mark would change meaning if this is a value type or a reference type. And because the value type would be a totally different type, and this would blow expectations. So you do it the other way around. Now this may be, so we say we don't annotate it, but it may be null when it's false. So again, if you do an if check, and in the true, it's not null, but in the false, in the else block, it will not be null, or it may be null. Then you need to do a null check there in case. And yeah, this really leads to the question from Dane. Are reference types nullable by default? I would say so. Well, why aren't they? I guess it depends. If you compile with nullable disable, which is kind of the default, if you don't set any compiler flags, then there are no question marks. So we don't really know. Well, now it's oblivious. But I think what the question is referring to is, what if I just do we have here our class, and here is our backing field. Actually, let's remove that again, because we get a lot of warnings. We have here our backing field, and I don't set this backing field to something. So the default will be, this will be null per default. Because what the default, we don't have an explicit constructor, and what the default constructor does, it initializes all values to their defaults, and reference types are null per default. Where value types are not, because a value type cannot be null. There always is a value. Like a bool would be false, an integer would be 0. They will be 0 initialized, which for structs means whatever 0 value is, all bits 0. And for reference types, like a string, that really would be null. So if we don't assign anything to it, the default here would be null. And therefore, we need to set this question mark. Because if we don't set this question mark here, now the compiler complains and says, hey, this backing field must contain a null value when exiting the constructor, because we don't have our custom constructor to set it to something. Why? We could set it to empty to fulfill that, but if we don't, the default will be null. Cool, yes, and there is many, maybe I post this page into the chat. there is a bunch of these attributes. You could also have something like member not null. Like if you have a constructor, and this constructor calls a method that initializes something. But from the point of the constructor, the compiler doesn't see that this unique identifier that we initialize when calling this method is actually initialized. Again, there is no dynamic evaluation, only static code analysis. And in the constructor, unique identifier is not set to something that isn't null. But what we could do is now assign this helper method, put a member not null attribute on top, and say, okay, for the member named unique identifier, after this method has been called, it will not be null. And therefore, we don't need a question mark here. So if you don't do all your initializations in a constructor but call some helper method, then you could annotate this helper method with that attribute to help the compiler figuring out what is null after this helper method has been called. And yeah, there's great examples here. You could also have something like, if I have a method that always throws, then you could attribute this with does not return, which means after this method has been called, the compiler just stops any null flow analysis, because yeah, there is no going back if this method has been invoked.
That's cool. So is that something that you use when you're really worried about performance, or is that, or when? Yeah, right. Or what other uses would it be?
Not really about performance, but to annotate your code to help the compiler with the null flow analysis.
Okay. That's nice.
I think that, for example, there's a debug. If you do debug.fail, if this method is called when you run your application with the debug configuration, then this will throw an exception if you call this method. So afterwards, the compiler doesn't need to do any null flow analysis, because it won't be there. It will have thrown. Like for example, here we do have some null warnings here, but if we do debug.fail, some message, now all the null flow analysis afterwards just stops. Nice. Because compiler sees this is annotated with does not return, so nothing else will be executed. And there is a bunch more that can help you to annotate your code base to be more null friendly and help the compiler figuring out what may be null in a more dynamic way.
Awesome.
Then let's jump to the final null trivia.
Yes.
Which isn't really null trivia. It's how you could avoid null in the first place. That's so,
yeah, that's good that it sort of lasts. Like how
can we avoid null?
Yeah.
Let's say we have a static class, my class here, and the static class has a iterate method, or print. Let's call it print all. And this print all gets an I enumerable of t. So let's make this print all generic t, and items, and we just for each over these items and print t item in items, and just print all of them to the console. Now we need the namespace for it. Let's say we have a string array. We initialize this to A, B, C, and let's call myClass.printAll with that collection. And if we run that, of course, it does ABC. But yeah, maybe for example, in tests, I want to replace this or in some scenarios, maybe this collection doesn't exist. Maybe for a test, this is something that that doesn't exist. What we could do is make this just an empty array. Basically a null object would be something that doesn't really have any impact on the system. It would be as empty or as nullish as possible, as side effect less as possible. Well, if we don't have a string array here, we could also have an enumerable of string. Well, this still works. There is also an enumerable.empty, which more or less does the same thing. But what if we have our own type? We could also build our own enumerable type. Let's say we have our own collection. Public sealed class my collection. No, our collection. And usually collections implement enumerable. Let's make this a generic collection. But let's say this collection really, when we initialize this collection type, it shouldn't do anything. So this really should be a null object. Let's say a null collection, something that doesn't do anything. Well, we still want to implement this interface. So what do we do when getting an enumerator? Well, we shouldn't really throw, because if we were to initialize our null collection of string, now, well, we get a not implement exception. We just can't do nothing is not sufficient, because we actually need to return an enumerator. So what we could now do in turn, implement also public sealed class a null enumerator. No, null enumerator. So again, generic, and implementing the enumerator interface. And the enumerator has a current. Maybe for current, we just return default. Since this could be null, we need to do an exclamation point here. The current really should never be read if move next returns true, because what we usually do is you call move next. And if move next is true, then current will be set to a valid value. If move next is false, then current will not be set. So you shouldn't really read current. So in our case, if we move next returns false all of the time, this would be as null as possible, as nothing as possible. The reset would just do nothing. The dispose would just do nothing. The current maybe. Well, actually, this should never really be called. If we would call current without doing a move next before, this really is an error. So maybe we should throw we could throw unreachable exception. This code should really never be hit. And if we now get the enumerator, we just now return our new null enumerator of type T. Let's also do that for the non-generic version. And now our code runs, but nothing ever gets printed because we have no side effects. And then we also see what for each really does under the hood. What for each does is it gets the enumerator. In our case, this enumerator will be the null enumerator. Then we do while move next. Well, move next immediately returns false, so nothing will be executed. We go into the finally. The finally will do a dispose. Well, dispose does nothing. There's nothing to do. And we now have our null collection, or our null enumerator implemented.
Wow.
Should you need or you could also build your own interfaces. If there is the iDisposable interface, you could build a null disposable, and so on and so forth. So if you have an abstract class, and if you want to implement a concrete null implementation of it, then you make sure that all of the abstract implementations that you override return as null as possible, as false as possible, as nothing as possible. So something that doesn't have any side effects on the system that you use it in, and then you have your null object. Then you have a null object, which isn't really null. So there are no null checks that we do anywhere, but still we don't do anything. It's kind of a combination of both worlds.
I love it.
Yes, indeed. These attributes, they are really quite a handful. Whenever I never remember them. I always know,
Yeah.
oh yes, there is an attribute for that, but I never know which one. Then I go to exactly this page and take a look at which one is it. But I always forget which attribute it is. Just, oh, there is something. Or maybe, is there an attribute for that? Most of the cases there is, but not all of the cases. And then we need the null forgiving operator indeed, as a last resort. Whew, now this has been... We are out of trivia.
We're out of trivia.
Rien
Wow. We're out of trivia for this topic.
Yeah, we're out of null trivia.
We
We're out of trivia.
have null trivia left. That didn't make sense. But anyway, maybe if you speak German, it makes sense. That was my trivia, right? That null means 0 in German. Anyway, cool. Then let's go to our final to-dos in our project. Well,
yes.
I say final to-dos.
The final. The final null to-dos.
Yeah.
There will always be to-dos.
Yeah.
So this is our to-do list. Is the opposite of a null object pattern. It's the infinite object.
Oh, that's a good title as well. The Infinite Project, Part 7. Yes.
Running all the tests, because I think last time we just left with a failing test and we haven't changed anything, and it hasn't fixed it.
It hasn't?
No, it hasn't.
How dare it? Okay.
I think this is actually what my mom used to tell me when I was younger. Don't worry. Don't worry. Work will be there the next day still. It won't go away.
Okay. I thought you told you just like, nothing has changed. I told you this was wrong last time. No, yes. And I think it's also something that we've struggled with in the past, isn't it? It's this generated projects.
Yes.
By the way, context switching. If you haven't been there last time,
yes.
We were working on our tests. Wait, I'm going to follow you a little bit. Should we do you want to kind of show what it does and what we're testing, or should we just go through the tests?
Good call. Good call. So do you mean the application or our tests?
I don't know. What would be more? Let's just go through the tests. I think
let's resume exactly where we left last time. So we have implemented from our null migrator. We first had the add disable method, which is like the beginning. So we go to every file or to every document, through every C# document to be precise, and we add nullable disable on top.
Yeah.
As well as on a project level, we enable nullable context options. I guess this ties also into the default, because per default, nullable reference types are not activated because they haven't existed pre C#8. So it's rather young. Well, not that young, a younger feature.
Yeah.
But per default, it's disabled. So what you have to do is explicitly enable them either on a project level or on each and every document. You say on top, we have trivia, nullable enable, so that you're now allowed to have nullable reference types. So you can put question marks on reference types, because this doesn't exist. Question marks on value types existed before, But this really is then the new, a totally different nullable type. This exists in C#1? I'm not sure. Maybe.
Asking the wrong person, but we could Google it. But yeah, exactly. And kind of our tool is sort of like helping you if you want to migrate, and there are a couple of different approaches. And yeah, and we named them really funny. Like that was my.
You have the add disable, yeah, and also the other way around. So when
remove enable, yeah,
we remove the enable when you do the other way around. So you file document by document yourself, you enable them, and then at the end we can get rid of all the enables and then again set it on a project level. So again, we then expect, because in the for the input project we don't have it set, but we have nullable enable on each and every document, which we now want to remove. We get rid of all the nullable enables, and then but do set it on a project level.
Exactly. I guess actually now looking at it like this time, and also the naming isn't that weird, but like last time it was kind of like, remove would be like minus and enable would be plus in my head, and so you've got minus plus or plus minus, and it's like, well, what are you talking about? But actually it's not that bad. I'm not too unhappy, because like the way you describe it as well, like with the different approaches and stuff, that kind of makes sense in my head. So, and also it's just tests. So
for me, it's not the other way around. For me now today, it sounds really weird. Add disable. It's quite an oxymoron, isn't it?
It is. It is. But unless like I don't have any better sort of suggestions. So I guess I'll just have to be that. But the problem is that we don't want to put these nullable and enable or disable into any auto-generated files.
Oh, yes.
We don't want to touch those at all. We want to skip those. And that's exactly what we wanted with our previous projects as well. And we struggled with that as well, because there's so many. I think it was because there's so many different ways that you can identify an
auto-generated document. You could.
And I guess we don't have all of them covered. Is that right?
Yes. So we do. So there is actually 3 ways. I think you can set an entire project or an entire assembly auto-generated.
Yeah.
There is an attribute you can put, like an auto-generated attribute that you can put on or compiler generated. I think on an assembly level, you could do something like assembly : compiler generated. I think you can pass in some hints there. I forget. Oh no, isn't this compiler generated? I thought, well, maybe not. Just, is it a different attribute? I think there is an attribute that actually, let's go into our generated code helper. Is generated code has auto-generated attribute. It's the system code. Is the generated code attribute. Okay, so this one.
Okay.
And this attribute takes some tool and a version. We could say basically it's generated by the tool in version 1.0.0 or something. And you can put this attribute on an assembly level, rendering this entire project, this entire assembly auto-generated.
Yep.
Or more granularly, we could name documents. If they have a special suffix, like, or a special prefix, like temporary generated file _ or a suffix .designer.cs or .generated.cs or .g.cs, but also .g.i.cs.
Yep.
Then these are also generated files. Or if the document starts with a comment that says auto-generated.
And also, oh no, I just had like a weird deja vu. Is there also something like with spaces? Is that what we discussed last time?
I think spaces really shouldn't matter. So this should be just as auto-generated as no spaces should be.
But we don't. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, not.
I just remember that we discussed that, but never mind.
Let's see if that now, because if we
that fixes it. Done.
No. Well, I'm wondering if
we'll break it further.
No, it's still only one that's failing. So
that
we detect this correctly. Yeah. But we found actually one document to be changed but there shouldn't be any because all of them
Yep.
are one way or another auto-generated. If we would comment this out and actually go to this assertion, we could see the
Which document?
violator. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And it's my document 6. Oh no, it is that one.
Oh.
No. Hold on. That's just a diff. That's just a diff. The diff analysis.
Okay.
Because we added the spaces here, of course, in our expectation.
Okay.
Now, of course, also needs to have the same amount of spaces.
Okay. I was so happy. It's okay.
But actually in my document 7.
7.
We don't detect. We did. Remove enable. We actually did remove the enable here, but which we shouldn't because it's actually auto-generated. I think this is the thing that we didn't discover yet. So if it's like a leading comment, all is good. But if the first trivia is not that auto-generated comment, we don't detect it. And now I'm not entirely sure about what the rules really are.
Yeah, same.
I'm tempted to just create a little project. Let's do a, how do we call it, temp. .NET new console. Well, let's do just a library class lib. .NET build. And let's add some, let's check those 2 documents. So we do have nullable enable. Oh, later.
Ooh.
And what do we want to check? So if it's auto-generated, generated, I guess we shouldn't really get any analysis problems. Like now I'm wondering, is there let's enable some analyzers. I need to briefly check how. C# code analysis, because there is a bunch of analyzers we can enable. Analysis level. Is that it? Analysis mode. Analysis mode all. And I think this should be a warning if we have a type name that includes a keyword, like a class here. I think this should be a warning. Let's find out if it is.
Okay.
No, it isn't. I hope it was. Unless I'm doing this here wrong, then there is this mode. I might just copy in analysis mode all. Is there maybe something more we need to set? I was hoping to. I thought this was a rule. If we have a class that is analysis level. Surprises me. I thought this was an error or a warning at least. What if it just? So maybe if it's the same, if it is a keyword name and not just contains one. No. Okay. Now I have to think. How can we produce a warning? Well, it's actually let's see. Because I want to get a warning.
Yeah.
For an auto-generated file is we made this auto-generated. There we go. Yes. Okay. Yeah, it works. Oh my god, I just fooled myself. Okay, we do get the warning. We didn't type class so that it no longer conflicts with the reserved language keyword class.
Okay.
But if it's an auto-generated file, if we have the auto-generated comment, as well, we didn't get the warning. Now we do not get the warning.
Okay.
And I think what we So what if there is some other text
Yeah.
here? Does this still qualify as an auto-generated document? Yes, it does. So this is a case that we didn't cover. Also, if we have, this is not really our case, if we do nullable enable on top. And if we run that,
Okay.
compiler still doesn't do the warning. So we don't really, if there is trivia before, we don't detect it. Now, other way around, if we would have the namespace on top,
Yep.
and then auto-generated, I think this should not trigger. Let's see what Roslyn does. Yeah, now we get the warning. Okay, so I guess we need more tests to check if we have
A
trivia
comment.
before the auto-generated comment, then we should detect it as auto-generated.
Yes, we should. Should I just? Oh,
would you like to add the test?
Yes, I would.
Well,
I'm just going to add another file to the current test, right? Do we need an extra test?
Yes, because we actually have
okay.
we actually have a separate type. We have some Roslyn utilities where we have methods is generated code that we do on the compilation where we check, hey, do you have this auto-generated this generated code attribute?
Yeah.
We also do it on document level to check, hey, is this file name, does this file name start with auto-generated or does it end with any of these?
Yep.
And we also check compilations. Yeah, this is actually where we have the comment because we don't detect this. So we need to fix something here. So let's jump to the usages of auto-generated comment. We have 5 usages here. We have 1 usage in a test, and this would be exactly where we add our test. So we do have a theory here.
Yes.
It takes some text and the expected, whether it's auto-generated or not, and then we assert that. We could then we do some member data here.
Yep.
So we have a bunch of theory data. So we actually have many, many test cases. We check for various versions of auto-generated with a space, without a space here, ending space there. We also do like multi-line comments. We do without a dash. We have, okay, also not as a first comment. So I guess if the first comment, that's kind of covered.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's different trivia node, this is not covered. Yeah, if it's just empty, it's false. If it's different capitalization, it's false. Oh, this is false?
Oh.
Really? No, I'm surprised.
True.
This is true. So
true.
this is auto-generated. Is it? Now I'm wondering, because since we now do have this example here, I'm not so certain anymore from what we saw earlier.
Okay, really? Then I'm really super confused, actually. Because I
bring
thought
this example back.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Let's run this. Actually, I think we should be able to do this inline, right? .NET build no incremental. Yes, warning. And what if we comment this like so? Is this not auto-generated? Or is it not? Oh, it is auto-generated.
Yeah.
Oh. Now I'm confused. Okay. I think
we managed to not both be confused because I thought that was exactly kind of the case that we wanted to add.
Yes, it actually is.
Because it's like
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
No, because the oh my goodness, we're doing well. Yes. I just thought, because if we have this sort of like hash and then nullable and able situation, it would be like exactly the same as if we had a comment, because it's both. Isn't it both trivia?
Yes, but I can imagine this is still, maybe this is still just one comment. If we check sharplab.
Yes.
And then have our public class C or something. Going to the syntax tree, we see that this is, no, not sure. It's actually a separate, not sure. We'll need to check our implementation. Yeah, but let's add a failing test case, or let's add the test case that has
Yes.
trivia, the nullable enable trivia.
But yes, should I add it towards the end or towards sort of like the
Where would it suit? Where would it suit? Maybe where it's kind of similar.
Yeah. So like maybe this longer one? No. Oh, where are you? Here.
Maybe one of these. Well, actually, no. Wait. This is because this is not. Maybe
here.
Maybe these two.
Two? Oh goodness.
Yeah, because let's do one that has a single line auto-generated, and let's do one that has a multi-line comment auto-generated.
Oh my goodness. Wait, am I copy
Just to be
pasting
sure.
wrong again? Looks okay. All right. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna remember the line number. Actually, I'm gonna put a breakpoint here, then I'll remember. No, because they all look the same. They all look so similar.
Yeah, they do.
I'm sorry. All right, and we want this, and then space. Is there space? There's no space. Is there space?
I think usually there isn't.
Okay. Nullable enable, or was it disable? Yes.
Any doesn't matter.
Any. Okay.
Shouldn't matter.
And then we want.
And let's also do the single line one, like here. So instead of a comment here, let's do also the same test, but instead of a comment, let's have the trivia.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness, copy pasting is hard. Like this. Okay, good. I lost the line again, but I think it's here. Is it here? Yes. No, I confused myself again. What are we doing?
Let's also do a here, a nullable enable.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Instead of a comment, we have some other trivia.
Got it.
Cool. And let's run this test. Actually, did you know? I'm not sure. You may have a different keyboard layout shortcut print. If I click in here, because you weren't sure what to select for copy paste, there is.
Yeah, but that's just my fault. That's just because I'm silly. Yes.
But I usually have the same problem. So what I like to use is I click just somewhere on the thing that I want to mark, that want to select.
Yes.
And then I do Control Alt and the right keyboard key. Also right. Cursor right, I can now expand the selection, and the more I press, the more I expand. But it also goes the other way around. With left, you shrink the expansion, and then basically you can go as far as you'd like, and then have just the context.
Oh, that's
and
good.
You go to the outer. To the outer. I'm not sure what the name is, but we basically go to the outer node and to the outer node to the outer node from a syntactic perspective.
That's how you always so fast. Ah, that's good. Awesome. I love that. Okay, I'm gonna try and use that from now on. That's actually a really good one. Cool.
Let's run our tests.
Should we add more scenarios? I can add them really quickly now.
I can imagine that in the future we add
everything
more when we find something new. Yeah, because this one not fails. Yes, we do expect.
Yes, okay.
We don't really print the code here. Well, this would be helpful. Well, since we now have fluent assertion, maybe we could refactor these assertions to say generated code. Let's actually go to generated file name. Let's go to this one. Yeah. Would you mind fluent assertionify that?
Sure. So let's see. Is generated, should, and then we have should be expected.
Should
Oops.
be expected, yeah.
Sorry, that was not. What? Ah, my auto completion doesn't work.
Oh,
Be, and then expected. Do it the old-fashioned way.
cool. And then, because those B's, what we learned in the fluent assertion episode some time ago, there's also a because that we can add. So
if you're interested in watching this episode, head to our YouTube channel and look at our previous episodes. It's a really good episode, though. I even rewatched it a little.
And what we can do is add this text for the because. Well, maybe that's not a good because string. Maybe something like because text something. I don't know. Let's find out how this renders.
Nice. Yep.
Oh no, this is running all the tests. No, abort. There we go. Just need to run these. Let's create a new session. Create new session. Yes. Let's just run these. Actually, there is also, let's do continuous testing. We can enable continuous testing. Now I have a continuous testing session, and I hope that I set it to no, where can I find the continuous development? This has changed. Continuous testing. Is this in coverage? No.
I don't think I can help because
I'm not sure what my settings are. If we save, oh yes, okay, I did set it. I'm not sure where I set it, but it is set. Oh, it's down there. There we go.
There we go.
Continuous testing settings. Yeah. So on build or on save, all of the impacted tests, or in this case, all these tests will be run. So I just hit save, and it will, if we change something, it will run the tests, which is pretty cool. Okay. And yes, we do have a failure. And now let's see if this is now a little bit better. Expected is generated to be true because text something enable, I don't know. Okay, this may not be the best format, so we could maybe
do
turn this into a low string literal. This usually is the solution. Then we say, okay, so there is a because. And we could say because the text should be let's do some fancy thing here. We could do a string interpolation again. Well, I need $, of course. If expected is true, then we say empty string, else we say not. Should not be generated. Something like this. Does this make sense? Let's see. Oh, so I saved. Should be now be executed automatically. I hope.
Nope.
It isn't. Maybe I need to cover all tests so that the testing tools knows which code is impacted. Oh no, it did one already. Okay. And okay, expected is trying to be true because the text nullable enable auto-generated should be auto-generated, but found false.
Yeah, the dot is. I would remove the dot because there's a comma after the dot. But yeah. Other than that,
also we have a double space here. Okay, now this is totally not important, but Maybe it is. Cool.
No, you're right.
And
Okay, and let's make the test green, right? No, you hate it.
yes, because
Okay.
yes. So let's go into the method under test. It has auto-generated a comment. So something is wrong here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. And now the syntax tree brain has to wake up again. Okay. All right. So if the syntax root.
I need to debug into it anyway, so let's find out.
Good. That's good.
So if we have, well, I guess if we don't have any leading trivia,
yes,
I think you really can get out of there, because if we don't have any leading trivia, this would be like.
But we do have leading trivia.
Yes, but if we wouldn't, then it would be something like this. So there is nothing here on the root, doesn't have leading trivia, so I think that's cool. But if we do, which in our case we should have, yes, we do. Now we get the leading trivia list, and this leading trivia list contains.
Oh, nice.
2 trivia nodes. It has this nullable enable and the auto-generated. Okay, so we actually do kind of get that, but what do we do wrong? We then go through this trivia list.
Yep.
Our first trivia, is the preprocessor directive. So we shouldn't enter here at all. Oh, but then we return. There is our mistake. Do you see it?
It has to do with the return false.
Then we return false, yeah. Decrease the zoom slightly. Can I fit the entire method? Almost.
So no, actually, I don't quite get it. So what was the leading trivia that we had there?
So the first leading trivia was this preprocessor directive from our test case.
From our test case. And so
it would be this. So this nullable enable.
Nice. You used the shortcut, didn't you? Did you?
No. Well, no, I did. I clicked
Sorry
end.
to interrupt. It's a new one.
I'm not sure.
2 shortcuts in one session.
No, it's not really a shortcut. I
Do you know what
tapped
time it is? Yes.
I tapped end to jump to the end of the line, and then I shift position 1 to. Well, it's not position 1. Position 1 is on the German keyboard. Home.
I think I did something wrong.
To basically mark the entire line. I guess I could have also did a double click instead.
And then what?
Just a shift position 1 or home key.
Home key?
To select the entire line. Or if the cursor was in the beginning, you could do shift end on the keyboard to select from the cursor to the end.
That's nice. Awesome. Yes. So nullable enable is but that's the thing. Like, it's really easy to follow you because you can kind of see where your eye is and stuff, like what you're looking at. That's really good. I'm gonna learn that until next time.
So if we
nullable enable is the first leading trivia,
but it is neither. So if we check our trivia list, in our trivia list we actually do have. Oh, cannot be evaluated. That feels maybe with this one. Yes.
Yeah.
So, oh no, it's not allowed because why is it not allowed now? It was earlier. Do I need to run so that it's cool? No, it is cool. So in our trivia list, we actually do have both nodes. We have our nullable directive trivia and the multi-line comment trivia. So we actually do have it. It's here. It's the second one. And if we, now what we do is we go into, so we iterate through all of our trivia list where it would be the second entry, not the first one. We check, is it a single line comment trivia? It isn't. is it a multi-line comment trivia? It isn't, because it is actually a preprocessor. No, what is it called? The nullable trivia,
Yeah.
or preprocessor directive trivia.
Okay. So
It's also not the end of the line trivia. We only would, if it's an end of the line trivia, then we would continue. But in all other cases, in our case, we would return false.
So do we need to check for another trivia kind, or do we need to change something completely?
I'm wondering if we just get rid of the else.
Oh, easy.
And with that, this is also pretty useless then. And we also get rid of that. So we only check, is it a single line comment? Well, also we return true here directly. So this, we don't really need an else here. Wait a minute. No, because if we enter there, no, wait a minute, no, that was wrong. Never mind. Otherwise we would check it twice.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it is single line trivia, and if it contains auto-generated, we return. Else, if it's multi-line trivia, we do the same thing. I guess we could also like inline this. We could say if this is or, because this is also duplicated, is it not quite? So we could make it a little bit simpler. We could have it like so. So just removing a bunch of code. Is it multi-line or is it single line? Then we check if it's contained, return true. Otherwise, we loop over and continue until we concluded all the leading trivia of the syntax root. And yeah, otherwise, if there is nothing found, then return false. So this may be working. The problem was, I believe, was in our else block. We just set false, and so we didn't go in our case to the second trivia in our trivia list. And save and run. My continuous testing doesn't work, because I hope it does.
We had that. I think we had that issue before as well.
I'm not sure I'm doing something wrong.
Oh my goodness! Is it all green?
It's green? Yes.
That's so funny. Why do we write it like that? Is it? Do you know this like meme where it's like what kind of idiot wrote? Do you know the idiot who wrote this? And then you have like the Obi-Wan being like, "Of course I do."
I know. Yeah, I then
That's
usually
how I feel right now.
I think I do like so. Yeah. What kind of a fool wrote this? Git annotate.
Fool.
Oh, God damn it.
Nice.
And then I closed the git annotate quickly. And yeah, of course I know it's me. That's Obi-Wan, right?
Yes, I think so. But awesome. Was it not you who said like deleting code is a good thing?
Deleting code is good.
Yeah.
My first mentor said this.
There you go.
Every time deleting, there was when you have tests, because tests really enable refactoring, and then you can just delete, and if everything is green, now other tests also without changing them turn green, and all is cool. And they said, yeah, deleting code is good, and hitting that delete key with joy. Also, this is also now quite clearer what we less code and more obvious what we're trying to do here. It's more grouped and no duplications, simpler, more resistant. Now writer wants to do some refactorings. Let's see. It wants to invert to reduce nesting. I'm not so happy with that. It converted into a link expression. Of course.
Love it.
So we return where trivia. I want to make this static.
Yeah.
Is kind or is kind. Oh, that's a bit of a. Okay, let's say where. And if so, we filter only trivia that is single or multi-line comment. And we select any where the full string contains any of these. Now I'm also a bit of an optimization because we call two full string twice. Okay, they do some pooling, so this is, I guess, as fast as it can get from a implementation perspective, but still we call it twice. That's not really useful. I'm not sure, but if we return like this, if the factoring still applies, because what we could do is get this text once. Actually, there should be refactoring, right? I should use refactorings more. I'm also doing it manually. Okay, Control Alt cursor right. Select the thing. This is because we have a duplication
I
here.
was selecting something.
Control dot. Actually, do you want to go for it?
No.
So
Yes.
go into do Control dot or Alt Enter, and then find. I need to use these refactorings more. I'm doing it always manually. Find refactor this and say introduce variable.
Ooh.
And this should then give you the opportunity of replacing only one occurrences or all occurrences. And then let's say all occurrences. So we now get rid of the duplication.
Okay. 1 second.
No.
I did it wrong. Okay.
Yes, this is not the entire line, but only
just
the trivia to full string, because we to full stringify this trivia twice. Well, in case of the second one, we would do it twice. Let's only do it once.
Oh. Huh. And here as well, right?
I'm not sure if we can do that here, because this is kind method. Because here we call them a method with different. Ooh, wait a minute. Does this have an?
Well, I used many shortcuts, so that was
overload.
the most important thing.
I wonder if this has an overload that takes multiple. No, it doesn't. No.
Nope.
Because, well, trivia does have a kind. Which returns the syntax kind. So, okay, well, maybe we could do it differently. We could say, we could get that kind once. Now we say syntax kind, and then say if kind is.
Or.
My cursor is getting, I can't. Or. Oh, my backspace doesn't work anymore. I need to use the delete key. Okay. Like so. Just make it more clear.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think so. But so now we lost the link, which is always sad.
Well, I guess so. Yeah, because this is now a larger method. Well, I guess we could still linkify it if we want to have that as a body. Because we still want to do a where and check then if any. So we could, I guess, Writer doesn't allow it to linkify it, but we could still linkify it. We could say trivialist.where.
Yes.
We say static trivia goes to. Now we need a body because we do more stuff now. We could say we get the kind and we return this kind. And then on that we do an any.
Yeah.
Again, a body. backspace doesn't work. And we paste in this code. Because if any of this and return, return false otherwise. Did I remove too much? What's the problem here? Oh yeah. Tries to return false because if we don't have leading trivia, and well, we return true or false, so we could just return here. Return. Get rid of that. And now it's if.
Perfect.
So we select where the kind is single line comment or multi-line comment. If there was none, any would be any would be false. Yes. But if there is, so it's not auto-generated. But if we have any of these, then we check if any of these contain auto-generated. And yeah, I guess we have all the tests to check if it's still good. That's a cool thing about tests. So they really enable refactoring. If we wouldn't have tests, I wouldn't dare to change any of this code.
Awesome.
And
in that case, I can.
So, can one off. Excuse me.
They didn't run. Oh, the null. Oh.
That's fun.
All of them.
Yeah.
Nice.
All is green.
That's what I want to see. So I can get rid of the to do, right?
We can get rid of the to do. Yeah.
Ooh.
This one. Yeah.
See what I did
cool.
there? Yeah. Good. Awesome. What's next? Yeah. We have more to dos.
Oh yeah. So in our migrators,
1 down,
100 to go.
4 to go. 4. Was not bad. Like we could do.
I think some of these there will be future episodes like the globbing.
Oh, okay.
Still want to complete because we now have what we added now here is a unit test. For unit test for add disable and for remove enable. Mm-hmm. But what we don't have yet are integration tests for these.
Ooh,
so yes. Our CLI tests to our nullability, because we also have our nullable migrator specs here, where we do have a test for test method name. Okay, I guess we can fix this now by using add disable here as well. Add disable.
Run.
The scenario is a non-annotated project. Adds disable. Adds nullable disable trivia. Or,
I love it.
Oops. Disable. Yeah, trivia. And cool. We now would like to have same thing.
Oh, yes.
Would you like to go ahead? The same thing, but for remove disable.
Wait, I can't. So I have to be up there? I couldn't do it. Woohoo! That's cool. Awesome. This is so cool. Perfect. Almost did it right. Oops. Thank you. Okay.
So this will be remove enable on an
I get confused.
Project. Which, excuse me?
Yeah.
Removes
yeah. The names are great.
Nullable enable trivia. Let's check if this is really what. So let's go into our remove. Excuse me?
Oh, I just saw the document that we create. Has the calendar in it.
Calendar. So we have nullable enable.
Yep.
On top.
Yep.
And this really now should go, yeah, away. And still, we then should end up with
Yeah.
The message enable nullable on project, enabled nullable project, and added for one document. So it would be and removed nullable enable from one document. Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
No. Because we still on the project level, we still enable nullable.
Oh yeah.
Because so we do now also have the nullable annotations context set on the entire project, which is the equivalent of, which is actually here setting this nullable enable here.
Got it.
For the entire project.
Okay.
Cool. I guess this will now be a different command that we call.
Yeah. What was it? Remove. It says it up top. Remove enable.
Cool. Anything missing? We wanted to think about. I guess we're happy with the name, are we?
We're happy. Woohoo! Oh, it used my mouse again. I should have used the shortcut. Regrets. Okay. Cool.
Let's test and see where this leads to.
Oh.
Failure, because we description facilitate migration. Okay, we get the output. We get basically the help output. I guess this indicates that the command wasn't found.
Yeah. Did I misspell it, or do we not have it?
I don't think we have it.
Okay, good. Yes.
Because we also see it in the docs that we have the report command, the add disable command, but there is no remove enabled yet. So let's go to our CLI application where we add the disable command. Now let us add the remove enable command to our nullable command. So nullable will be still our top level command, where we then have the sub command remove disable as well.
Okay. Should we do that here before the handler, or do you want to do it in its own little section?
I do it afterwards to keep it grouped. Because first we do
at the end of the file.
Let's do it at the end.
Yeah, I agree.
So because here is now the part where we say remove disable enable.
Perfect. Yep. Okay. Enable nullable command. Right. Yeah. Commander. Oh, my autocomplete does not work. This could take a while. I'm writing everything out, and as you can see, I'm doing all the spelling mistakes. So that's going to be great.
I guess let's see what we added on the first one. I'll just copy this so that we get a similar one, and then we enable nullable on project and add nullable for each document. So I guess quite similar, but it's actually not quite the opposite, because we also enable nullable on project and remove nullable enable for each document. And add. Should this be text really be add to each document and remove from each document instead of the for?
Enable nullable on project and remove nullable enable.
So if we have a to for the adding and a from for the removing.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Good.
Cool.
Awesome.
Now we need to add this command to the root command. Well, not to the root command, but to the nullable command.
What? To the nullable command, yes.
Yes, because remove enable is a child command to the nullable command. So we'll be saying /over nullable remove enable. Cool. And now we can set the handler for this enable nullable command.
Oops. Set handler. Right.
For which we can get heavily inspired by the previous one.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I can, let me see. Can I just...
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is going to change my life. I think my life has been changed today. I did it wrong. Oh God.
Not quite. Yes, because
Yeah.
I just copied the first line, and then
Yes,
you
please.
could do it after.
I couldn't have.
Yeah.
I couldn't have copied the half of the first line as well, right? Probably not.
I think from the context, I think that's then included. Oh, actually, the async. Yeah.
No. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
next
because
time.
that's the lambda. Because the entire
Yeah.
that's the entire lambda. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
So
All right.
cool. So we get a single project file. Yeah, we may not need this anymore, but we need to check that later. We open the project file. Cool.
Yes.
We call add disable. I guess we can call remove enable here.
Yes.
Then we apply the changes and we say enable nullable on project and enabled nullable project and removed nullable enable from changed documents. I guess we also need to do a 2 here and added disable 2. And cool.
Love it. Oh, there's something.
Not compiling.
Yeah.
Are we missing a brace or something?
Yep.
Are we?
Yeah, the
yes, the closing. Bloop. Cool. Parentheses was missing. Cool. Running the tests.
Running tests. Team. Oh.
Okay, it's now the other test failing because I believe we added some, changed some text. Enable nullable on project and added nullable to one document.
Yes.
Should do the trick.
But I think there should be other tests then where we need to change that. No, it's not. Okay. Just the one.
Would you expect more?
Yeah. Well, maybe I did. Maybe not. On line 52 in the tests, there's also from one document, but that must be like a different case, maybe.
Test. Oh yeah. No. Well, yeah. We just forgot to, because we added the we changed the actual from 4 to 2 when enabling. Or when adding nullable disable, but we haven't changed it in the test before. We only changed it in the production code. Because we updated that, but not the test. So the test was still obsolete.
Fair enough.
We should have done it the other way around. First update the test and then the production code, but okay.
But we are rebels. Don't try this at home. We're professionals.
And now we have I think I now remember what the to-do was.
Oh, really? What was it?
We don't assert the... No, wait a minute, we do. Assert the project file. Hold on. Because the project file... Oh yeah, the project file must contain this nullable enable. No, well, wait a minute. But did it before? Because I think we always set the... when we initialize the project, we have some facility how we create a project. We will create a SDK project, so we call this method. So we already set nullable enable. that's already set in the project, but we want to see it change. So I guess we need to somehow remove that from the actual or from the start. How could we do that? Well, we could have something like, we could pass something like project features. And this project features is a class that has a bunch of properties, a bunch of Boolean properties, use, or let's say enable nullable. Or maybe use nullable reference types, something like this, where we can, this is init only. Well, it's a Boolean, by default it's false, but we can set it to true. So we would have our features here. Maybe let's make them nullable so we can get them a default. We can optionally add them. We have our features. And now we pass these features to this project creation thing. So this project creation now also gets project features. And we could now say that this nullable enable is only added if. So we could say something very similar like above. If feature, well, feature is nullable. So if feature is not nullable and we have use nullable reference types enabled, then we print nullable enable. Otherwise, nothing. And this doesn't work because we cannot implicitly compile from Boolean to bool. Does this mean we need to say value? No, because this is now a nullable. Yeah. We can't say value here, right? Because we turn this now into a nullable. Let's do, how can we do? Well, we could do something like is true, but that kind of sucks. But okay. And colon expected. Oh, does this need to be in brace? Why does this not work? You cannot do it above. Nullable enable colon. What am I doing wrong? Oh, this entire thing needs to be in parentheses. Okay. So only if.
But now it's right because of the IDE, right?
Yeah, I think this is just a rendering bug.
Yep. Okay.
So we only print nullable enable if this is really enabled. Or, well, we would actually change because we kind of have it per default. We could also do it the other way around and say to not change it. It's kind of weird, but now let's start with that. Because currently we always had this feature enabled per default. So we would now change tests that don't set this feature, which they currently don't. So we would actually change behavior. Let's not do that for now, but we can also refactor later. We can say if features is null, or so if features is null, we say nullable enable because that's the default that we did. And if it is not null. So if we set it, then we do whatever the use nullable has set to not change any behavior that we had previously. So now in the test, we should be able to say here, new project features, where we set use null reference types to false. And also doing, initialize. Let's also do this for the test above. Let's test that, or let's verify that. Let's go into the file system. Let's see our, oh, that's one above, doesn't work, never mind. Let's go to our artifacts. Let's delete all.
Okay.
Just to see what this test is doing. I'll not act upon it. Just run the test to see if we really do print it without. Now we created a switch directory with a debug net8, some generated document, and some test project. Let's take a look at this. We have our document here and our test project. It does not have nullable enable.
Nice.
But then for the expectation, we would expect nullable enable to be true, because we then append file and wait a minute, we project.create. This is exactly that. So we could now also explicitly pass to make it, to be explicit. We have no packages. Features.
Okay.
Pass in these features, but this time with true.
Okay.
And we could also do this for the second project, where we say features should be, I'm using here named arguments, because if we go to the create method, we actually set the first two, but we do not set, there is also packages that we could set, but they are also nullable. But I don't want to set these, because I want to set this fourth parameter. But I want to skip this. So instead of, so what we can now do is using named arguments and say for features, I'm passing in this project features, basically skipping the packages. This package is enumerable. If I wouldn't do that, now this would say it doesn't work, because now it's positional. So I would need to pass in null for this collection, so that for this read-only collection, which is nullable, we pass in null and then set the project features. So now it's positional. But since we do have optional arguments, we could basically skip this, because this is optional, and then not positional, but by name say, hey, features colon. Guess it's a matter of style. And cool, let's see what is happening. They fail because...
Yep. Wow.
Cool.
What happened now?
Expect the console output to match enable projects.
Yeah.
But empty string does not. We have
nothing.
We have nothing.
We have null.
We have null. What does this mean? Does this mean we fail? Does this mean we have some error?
Does that mean we are nothing?
We are... now it gets philosophical and existential. Yeah, in our error, we have not supported. Changing compilation options is not supported. What? Changing compilation options is not supported. We actually change compilation options. This is not supported. Okay, cool. I think we fail. I'm surprised. Good that we test this. Compilation options changing is not supported because we, in our code, I think we fail here when we apply the changes.
No.
No, wait a minute. This is try apply changes. What is? Oh, this may still throw, right? Apply changes mid to solution. The specified solution must be one that originates from this workspace. If it is not, the workspace has been updated and solution was obtained. This method returns false. This method will still throw if the solution contains changes that are not supported according to the can apply change. So the workspace has a can apply change, which takes apply changes. And what are we doing? We change document. Add project reference, move project add analyzer. Oh, there is more. We see that this MS Build workspace supports this, but the MS Build workspace does not support. There is many more features. What's the feature that wasn't supported for us? Change project compilation something, right? Change compilation options. The MS Build workspace does not support that.
So what are we going to do?
I don't know.
Oh, no, we can solve this.
Well, what we could do is adding, not via the MS Build workspace, but setting this XML, because CS project is basically just XML, adding this XML node ourselves to the CS purge. I guess we could do that.
And this is all. I've just one tiny question. Are we overcomplicating things, or is this integral to our test?
Are we overcomplicating? Well, kind of, because we actually lied. Well, we never change compilation options. Actually, when we say enable nullable on project, that's a lie. It worked before because our test project already had nullable enabled. But if we don't have that, we do change compilation options, and that will blow up in the MS Build workspace.
Okay, now I get it. Yes. Okay, that's bad. So we need to.
That's kind of bad, yeah. Because our feature doesn't work as we expect. Actually, good that we find this, because this is quite a deal breaker. Oh no, I wanted to get to the test because I want to check again what this feature is again, to more or less document it. So what we cannot do is, but we still need to call apply change in order to change all the documents that we've mutated.
Yeah.
If we go to, but we can't add, das ist blöd, aber naja.
Little German in there.
Yeah. The error and exception not supported. Changing compilation options is not supported. Ja, das ist ziemlich blöd. Because we will kind of split this now.
I'm going to come to you.
Workspace.can apply change features change compilation options. So this is not supported.
Yeah.
Is false. So we cannot, because in our nullable migrator, what we do, we not only mutate the documents, but we also, mutate the project with these compilation options. So we would kind of need to disjoint these two features. We would need to change the documents Roslyn style in our migrator, but then do not change the compilation options, because this really is what breaks if we would remove that, as well as here. Now I believe the test would not throw, but the output would be different, because we now, because we expected nullable enable, but got nothing.
Nothing.
But now other tests, since we moved that, we have some other tests that will be failing. Namely our unit tests. Because in our unit tests, we expect the compilation to now have these options. So we expect that now we're going to be enabled, but the actual we're disabled. Und das stinkt ein bisschen.
More German, ladies and gentlemen.
I guess this is when I enable desperate mode. Verzweiflungsmodus. What do we do? I'm uncertain. Because for once we would need to, we either disjoint it like such, where we no longer mutate the options in the migrator, but then our unit tests are kind of incomplete.
Yep.
Because we cannot assert in our unit tests that we need to get rid of this with nullable annotations, because we really only, the nullable migrator, the Roslyn part, would only add mutated documents. And then the CLI part would then XML style mutate the CS approach. So we could then get like we have the project, right? So if the project, we have the path, the file path. I haven't done XML in ages, so I'm not sure about how to write this, but we would kind of load as XML document something.
Yep.
Add nullable enable to the at the end of the first or last, depends on how we want to write it, property group, that we find. And then save new CS proj. So we would do it in two different aspects of our code, which is kind of not cool. But it's maybe something that we need to do, because the MS Build workspace doesn't allow to change compilation options.
I guess then we have to do it, right?
Yeah.
Is there another option, or is it just like?
I can't think of any. No, I'm sad.
No, that's a good thing.
Nah.
No, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, but it's a good thing that we found out.
Well, yes. Okay. Well, it's excellent because we would then later, oh, why does this not work? Okay, why does it
Yeah,
throw?
exactly.
Cool.
Imagine we'd sort of like publish this, and then
Okay,
everyone, the whole
interesting.
community would be disappointed. You used it, it wouldn't work. That would be horrible. This is good.
Cool. I didn't do XML in ages, so let's see. There is XML document. Is that the way to do it? I think there is like 3 different ways of how to read XML documents. In yeah, Mr. Lee, of course. Oh yes, we are on time, aren't we? Hi. Well, there is this small problem that we now encounter.
Good evening. Yes, we're still here, and we're here with yes, a minor inconvenience. Everything's broken.
Everything. Well, yeah. So we would need to. Not sure if XML document really is the best type for using, because there is more. There is system XML. I think there's also like system.link.xml. No, I thought there was. I'm never sure. I'm always mixing it up. Or is it system.xml.link? Yes, there's also some link things, X document, or system.xml.xml document. And I think there's only 2. I think there's 2 or 3 more, 1 or 2 more. I'm not sure what's the right one. So I'm just going to start naively with the XML document. I haven't used this in ages. I don't have the. Oh, yes, we do have the assistant. Cool. Let's try.
Oh wow! When did you get that? I don't know. Whatever it is. Don't you have to like do something for that? Download? Oh, can you just start?
I think that's now included in. Well, if you have the license, I think
Not available for guests.
Not available for guests. Yeah.
That's sad.
Let's see. We want to add an XML node. For the late joiners, what are we working on? So, yeah, we are still on. Would you like to?
No.
Sum it up. We have now fixed a bug in our detector of auto-generated code. Also implemented the command for disabling nullable annotations and enabling on a project level.
Yep.
Then we found one nasty to do where we didn't actually really, for the integration test, the projects that we created already had the nullable enable set. So what we did now is added a type project features via which we can now actually disable nullable reference types. We always had them per default because they are in the default, and then they're basically included in all of the templates. But if you have an older project, we have older template, this wasn't existing yet. So we actually need to simulate that this attribute or this compilation option is not set. But then now we detected that we will actually throw an exception when we try to apply these changes, because the MS Build workspace only supports these features, but it doesn't support the feature change compilation options. Since this is actually what we do in our nullable migrator, we now commented it out. We literally change the compilation options, and this is unfortunately not supported in the MS Build workspace. So we're now trying to not to only mutate the documents via the MS Build workspace, because that's supported, and now XML style add this node ourselves.
Yeah.
If you're referring to white line that outputs either text or null based on condition. Remember to consider CRLF. Yes, that's a good point. The line ending needs to be considered. I hope XML document is taking care of that, so that it understands how the lines endings are set in the current document, because every document has like line endings. For example, we have CRLF here, but if I was on a Unix system, this would be, is it just LF? I always forget. So we don't want to change the line endings actually, and I'm fairly certain the XML document would take care of that.
Okay.
Is there a load? There is not. Is there maybe on X document? I was hoping there's something like a load. There is a load. Oh, I like load. And X document load takes in a stream. Oops, I can make this simpler, right? Stream text reader or an XML reader. Yeah. We wanted to ask AI. There we go. We want to add nullable enable to a CS project file via C#.
Oh my goodness, so fast. Nice.
Let's see. Is there like a copy all or something? There it is, copy to clipboard. Where are we? In here. No, wait. Yes. Oh, we need to do this twice actually. Okay, let's create a method. Private static void enable nullable. We pass in a project and then hope for the best. Okay, pasting in that code. Oops. Let's do a comment here. So, okay. It once suggested the XML link. Maybe because I started with, let's see. We have a path to the project. Yes, does a file exist? I guess we can assume the file exists. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a project. We wouldn't be able to load a project here if this file doesn't exist. So I guess we do not need the check. Then it does indeed an X document load with the CS project. Okay. I thought there was no overload for text. No?
But we did load async, right? No.
Oh, that's right. Is there no load async? The synchronous load has a text. Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
It was
you're so fast, I didn't see.
So actually, I won't do it down there anyway. Never mind. So the load allows a project path, but the file path, the load async doesn't have a, okay. Or the synchronous overload allows a file path. Now file path maybe null. No. Well, let's use it debug.assert, because debug.assert is annotated with, we kind of assert that this is not null. And since debug assert, again, has a does not return if attribute.
That we've heard, yeah.
So now the compiler knows afterwards, file path will be not null, because if it was null, this would be false and does not return if false. I guess that's a fancy way for exclamation mark.
Yes, and we are fancy today.
We are fancy. Then we get the, let's grab that. Then AI Assistant suggests us to get the root element. Well, it's maybe null. Let's not think about nulls currently. We get the first property group.
He says in like the nullable.
Yeah, the nullable episode. Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? We get an element property group. I think this should then just return the first property group.
Nice.
If it's null, then we create a new one and add it as a first node. Okay.
Nice.
And then we have a property group. We add a nullable element and say nullable enable. Oh, wow. It's
pretty straightforward.
So wait a minute. It actually checks property group element. Oh, it checks if there is. Haha, we have not considered the case. What if nullable enable or actually already exists? Or maybe it's set to nullable disable. So maybe the node exists already, but in that case, you want to change it. So I think this is also what the code does here. It finds the nullable element. If it has it, we just change it to enable, beat whatever it was earlier. And if it doesn't, we add a new node and add it to the property group.
I love it.
Cool. And then we save to project.filepath. And then enable nullable edit to CS project successful. Well, let's see. We have a test for that. Cool. Nullable enable. We want to call that from here. And also from here. And let's see. Get some comment. I was referring to, in our, sorry, I misunderstood. You meant in the project creator. So if we jump to our tests, we initialize and create. Yes, in here. So in our case, I think since we have, since our line endings are set to CRLF here, I think what the raw string literal does is actually using this as a file ending. I think in our assertions, we usually normalize file endings. We had this somewhere. Normalize normalize path. Don't we have something like normalize? Well, we have normalize bytes. Don't we have line endings? Replace line endings. This is what we do to basically in our assertions, we ignore the line endings. I think what does this under the hood? It's replacing with new line const. So it's replacing the line ending with whatever the environment has that we are currently on. So I think on Windows, it will be CLFR, and on Unix, then it will be LF, I think. But we get a line. Yeah, that's right. We do have an empty line here. Where is it? Physical project builder. We just have an empty line here. If it is false, yeah, that's not beautiful. That's a good point. To do, can we? Well, maybe I could do it with a string builder or something. Let's get rid of the empty line if use nullable reference type is false. That's a good point. And yes, why we use debug assert here is this indeed only would work for release builds. When we jump to, where was this? Here, yes. So if we were running this in like locally for our tests, we run them in debug mode. And this method is attributed with conditional debug. So this would actually be executed, and this would throw when we run our tests. Well, when we run in production, then we actually do a release build. So this debug assert actually will be, since it has the conditional attribute, but if we do a release build, then this debug constant is not set. Therefore, this code will be eliminated. But this is during compilation, so now the null warnings are no longer there. So basically, yeah, it for a release mode, it really is just a fancy way to do exclamation mark here. We could also do it more aggressively, like also for release mode. We could do something like project.filepath. If this is null, then we really throw invalid operation exception and saying project had no file path. Oh, had no file path.
Yes.
But since we do load via the MS Build workspace, this wouldn't work if this file doesn't exist. So we can't load a physical project if it doesn't exist. So I guess debug assert or just doing an exclamation point would be just fine. Yeah, but there's basically 3 different ways of how to protect our code. Like, don't protect it at all and just ignore with the exclamation mark. At least protect it in debug builds, or we go full and any build then just throws. Well, let's go with the full one. Cool. And I guess also here, well, if our root, in which cases do we not have a root? Would it be a valid CS project if we wouldn't have a root? Not sure.
I got no roots, and my home is never underground. Do you know that song?
No, I do not.
No, God. This is the second time on the show that I very confidently start a song. That's exactly the quote that you just mentioned, and nobody knows the song. That's sad. Or maybe I'm just singing it so badly. Maybe actually you know it because it's like on the radio all the time. Never mind. What happens when you don't have a root?
I don't think this would be a valid. I don't think this would be a valid CS project, because at least we need, if we take a look at the CS proj, since this is an SDK style project, I think we need a root project node. I don't think it would be valid XML, valid CS project without. But then there would be still a root. So I guess an empty project wouldn't be something loadable. So I'm fairly certain there will always be a root. But okay, now we also guard actively against it, and should be good. Running the test. Our CLI tests. Nine.
Oh. What happened?
Damn it, now we get the, yeah, that's an XML thing. Is that the preamble or something? Because we now, we get, where is this the XML root? Oh, no, we get this preamble automatically set. It's like the XML preamble, but we don't need that for CS projs. Line endings get removed. And also, well, okay, this was expected. We don't edit, we actually edit at the end, but our test expected it to be at the beginning. So yeah, our test would need to expect this to be at the end. But we do get rid of line ending, of empty lines, which I find not cool. And also the preamble. I think it's called preamble. I'm wondering if we can, is this preamble? No. AI assistant. Works fine. Could you remove the XML preamble from the saved XML CS proj?
I love that you do that. Whenever I talk to AI, I also say, "Oh yeah, that's great, but could you do this instead?" Actually, I don't need to praise the AI. I could just say, "Give me that."
I think we need to be nice
Yeah.
to the AI, because eventually there is a, what's that? That's
Is
something
it?
from no, I can't recall. Reddit, was it Reddit? Some user, the Rocco's Basilisk, some user brought up the theory of AI will take over, or the machines will take over anyway. It's just a matter of time. So
Yeah.
we should be nice to them and support them so that they remember that we weren't bad to them, because they will take over anyway. I guess the theory is a little bit more specific, but I don't want to go into much details.
When they take over, they won't be that selective. They'll just punish us all for every person's. They don't be like, "Oh, Stefan said thank you one time."
Oh, well, okay. Well, in that case, we could go Viennese and say "Herst, Alter."
Yeah, but that's still friendly. I feel like in Viennese, it's basically saying, "I love you."
More or less, yeah. Let's see what do we got here. We have a extra comment load. We and then we save the modified XML without the XML declaration preamble. Okay, so we need now to create an XML writer with XML settings where we say omit XML declaration. Cool. And indent true. Okay, cool. So I guess we just need to add this.
Yes.
Instead of the save. And here is now our project.file path. What other well, let's see. I think this is really the it's actually, I think this is the first time I really use AI assistants for generating code. I think I always ask them for like
Really?
general questions or just about programming, but something very specific about code. And it works amazing, I suppose. Yes, it does, because now the declaration is gone. Now I'm wondering. Amazing. Amazing. Could you also keep?
If you'd be so kind.
If you'd be so.
If it is not any trouble.
If it isn't any trouble, would you be so kind in keeping? What's a fancy word for keeping? Retaining the empty new lines from the original CS proj.
Nice.
Certainly. String white. Okay. That gets more fancy. Modify content. Merge original content with we. Okay. And then we.
Is that bad?
With original formatting preserved. I find it cool that there's also a console write line at the end, confirming what was just done. That's really cool. Let's try that. I'm wondering if this now keeps the let's find out. Cool. So it, yeah. Guess that's instead of that. We now merge original content with modified XML files. So we have the original content. Does it do the original content? It just reads the text as is, okay. And then it does it. Preserve white space. Load options. Maybe. Do we need that then? Can we be? I guess we do need it, but I want to give it a try. What happens if we say that? So that's a parse. Where we pass in the original content. Okay. And we have preserve white space. Let's see what happens. So we got okay, but now it's added outside. That's not what I would expect. Oh. No, okay. So that's weird if we, because we haven't really changed anything. But okay, well, I guess we need that all.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, we now save with save options none. What are save options? We could say none. Disable formatting, omit duplicate namespaces. Format intent the XML while serializing. Okay. Then we, oops. Then we split both the original and the modified content. And we basically get the diff if they are different. We modify them. Okay. And then we write the modified lines. Let's see. And okay, I guess now we have different line ending. Do we? Do we have different line? Well, the preamble is there again. Oh, I missed it. Thank you.
Well,
but the preamble is back.
Are we grateful? Are we thankful? I'm not thankful.
No?
I'd be like, death doesn't solve anything. What? Yeah.
But I guess we're getting closer and closer. I need to dig into the UTF-8 string writer, XML formatting stuff. Should we follow that path and get that ready, or should we call it an evening? Considering we're over 30 minutes over.
I think we could continue a little bit, like not for another hour, but for a little bit.
Okay.
Or no? I mean, I'm not really very support. Like, I can't really support you in this field very much. I can just be another pair of eyes. So obviously, you being the one who's doing all the heavy lifting. What do you think?
Well, the AI is doing the heavy lifting. We also have duplicate. Is it? Well, we also have duplicate lines, actually. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we actually have those. Yeah. Maybe. Okay. Maybe we clear. Can I clear like the current? I want to open a new.
I think you just open a new chat.
Rename chat.
No.
Delete chat. Cool.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Create new chat.
Dead. See, it's not doing anything. Oh yeah, there it is.
We want to add the XML. We want to add nullable enable to the first property group in a CS project while retaining the original formatting and omitting the What was that namespace? Preamble? XML preamble. Did I forget anything? Retain original formatting. Oh. Revert to what we had earlier and then elaborate on that with the code as context. Also, XML declaration. Yeah, always use the wrong word here. New chat. Declaration. Let's see. Yeah, actually, yeah. Before and after. Yeah, this would be perfect if it's exactly like that. So we only add. This would be perfect. If you prefer to deploy it using C#, you can use link to XML to achieve this. Cool. This code will load the CS put. No, this is way too little code. So the changes. Make sure you replace. How is this now so much less code?
Is that everything it gave us?
Because this wouldn't do the preambles, the declaration thing, would it? Okay, maybe let's do the iterative thing. Let's paste it and then we ask it, use the code as context and improve directly. So we have enable nullable and we remember to replace path to your project with project.filepath. Project.filepath. Cool. Okay. Now let's see what will happen here. I debugged, right? Damn it. We have, okay. So omit the, I'm not sure how to do that actually. Can we add insert snippet, like refer to the current code? I'm not sure. I guess there is an add reference. User prompts, add reference. This file. Cool.
Yeah. That's cool.
No, what is this file? This file?
No. Is it?
Change this file. Simple. Well, we could also say this one, not to be very explicit. Cool.
Oh, okay.
The method enable nullable does add an XML, adds a XML declaration. Please remove that. Project.filepath, almost. Cool. While we run the tests, if you're using the generated code, you don't need to add context. I'm not sure if I understand. If you're using, so like this, copy to like add file for snippet, like basically to refer to the code above. User prompt, set your prompt. No.
I don't know.
I'm not sure what you mean, I'm afraid. Like in a new chat. Okay, in a new chat if we post our code. Yeah. Then, okay, cool. So now that's gone. And Ooh, okay, but we have the
right.
formatting is not okay. Nullable. So we could give that a try. Let's say new chat. The code below removes empty lines from the original CS proj. Please retain them. I should have passed it. Stop.
No.
Below.
Oh wow. Okay.
Removes empty lines from the original CS proj. Please retain them. Assistant. Let's copy that. Oops. And cool. I'm not sure if this is, well, let's give that a try. This is now using XML document, so that's a different, this is no longer the X document link thing. That's now a different XML thing, but that does look, yeah. Can we figure it out? Why is this nullable enable? No, wait a minute. Oh no, this is removed. What
happened?
No, it's actually correct. Because, yeah, I guess we first of all, we need to update our expectation. I'm just hacking that for now. This will now break all the other tests.
Oh.
But because this is what we would like to have. But it doesn't add a new line. So it inserts it, but it doesn't do a new line at the end. So what we have is nullable enable is there. Well, it's wrongly indented, but also property group should be then in the next line. I am absolutely uncertain how to formulate that.
Maybe to formulate it for AI, like just put in what we get and what we want and tell it do that.
Ooh. Let's give that a try. Yeah.
And then say please.
So let's get this is a diff view. This is what we get. Wait a minute. This is what we get. And this is what we want.
Yeah. And like with the code, with this code, we get this, but we want this. Do something.
With above code, we get what we want. Okay, if this would work, I would be quite amazed. To preserve the white space properly and ensure that the nullable tag is correctly placed while keeping the formatting right, you should carefully insert a new element. Use the updated code to achieve the desired result. Can I also do the expand formatting here? Yes, this works. I can also do the expand formatting here. So, get the entire method. Or I could also, the method, bloop, bloop, bloop. And then we just replace that here.
That's good.
Compiles, test.
Oh.
Okay, get some feedback. X-document load takes load options. Are there like options here? No.
Oh, but there's preserve white space is true.
So that's X document load. Yeah, we tried this earlier, I think, where we had the load options none or preserve white space. I think we had this in an earlier version. So what's now wrong? We have it's just not. Maybe we can fix that ourselves.
Do you mind removing the comment? Because I didn't see.
Oh, excuse me.
Do you just mind removing the comment?
Yes.
Because I
So
couldn't
we
see.
have the.
Yeah.
So this is what we expect, but we get. Well, this should be indented and this should be outdented. I guess maybe it's just as simple as, do we see that immediately here? We load, we select a single node, we find that we append, we child nodes. Oh no, this is not, oh, there we go. Then we append. Okay, first of all, I guess this shouldn't be, should use the current system environment.newline. And this is adding the nullable element owner document create text node. I'm super uncertain what it does.
Same.
Wow.
What is? Sorry, I just have a question on line 138. That's this XML document.load. Can we, and if we here preserve white space, would that change anything?
I'm not sure if this
Maybe
is.
that's what.
No, because I think the preserve load, that's on a different type. That's on X document, but we are now on XML document. That's a different type.
Oh, X document. Sorry.
No worries.
Oh, we have it already because it's above. Oh, I'm so silly. It's late. It's late. In my defense.
Tend true. New line character. Make sure new lines use. Well, I guess in our case, but I guess we should really do environment.newline. Is this the default maybe? Initialize. It seems to be.
All right.
Yes, so we don't need that. Do not place attributes on a new line. Okay, let's see.
Okay.
Nullable enable must be indented. Ensure formatting remains correct. Nullable enable. We append the child. So we create the nullable enable. Wait, maybe let's do, yeah. New chat, context, nullable, what's that? CLI application nullable. With the method we get what we want. Let's try that one more time. So we, This is what we get. This is what we want.
Oh, it's still here. I thought it vanished like the text you wrote before, but it's still here. All good.
But we want properly aligned XML. Add nullable. Yes. Okay. This doesn't answer the question.
No, not
well, maybe
at all.
Toast the Chain knows. Nullable is on documents instead of property group. Nullable is on
Document.
property group.
No, it's on
documents instead of property group. But it should
this
be
one.
XML document. Ooh, selecting. Ooh, I see.
No.
Well, we can't create the last chart because we then add it to the property group. So via the XML document, we can create elements, but then we add it to the nullable element. But maybe this is why the indentation is a little wrong here, because we can't say property group element is to create. No. Is there some overload? Can we? Is there something like indent or something? No. I'm running out of ideas.
Okay.
My XML editing is really bad.
I also don't have any ideas. But it's also,
Well,
I mean, okay.
Apart from formatting, we're there, so this should be now functionally correct. Not nicely formatted, but yeah, we do add. It wasn't there before, and then afterwards we add it. And yeah, I guess we could. I think that's the 80-20 rule now. To get those last two spaces right, it takes now, I guess.
80-20? What is that? What rule is that?
For you get 80% of the work done in 20% of the time, and then the last 20% of the work take 80% of the time.
Ah, yes, that would be correct. Yeah. No, but I'm really glad like we did this because yeah, we found basically a kind of like a massive bug in this episode, and that's like really good.
Or a dramatic one, yeah. This tool wouldn't work at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And that would make us look super stupid. So no, okay. And
maybe one last try. Just one last try.
Let's do one last try. I'm also confident. Oh, one last AI try. Okay.
One last AI try. The nullable.
Tell the AI as well. I'll give you one last try.
Method. Last try. I don't wanna. The
Okay.
method adds nullable enable within a property group, but with the indentation level of the property group instead of the indentation level of the elements nodes within the property group. Could you quickly
Please.
could you please
No.
fix that for us? Yoy. Okay, I think this is now suggesting something similar that we did it with the first try, that we basically do like a
Yeah.
line by line thing.
Let's try it.
Well, let's try it. So we have
One last try.
one last try. Enable nullable. We have, this doesn't exist. Project.get file. Assuming this method gets the file content as a string. Okay. Well, void. No, but we can ask, well, we need so we do file dot read all text from project dot file path. Okay. And conversely, assuming this method saves the updated file content, and we do a file dot write all text to project dot file path. Oh,
no.
With the updated file, of course. Now I'm not sure what comes first, the file name or the content.
Path.
Path content. Path content. Okay, cool.
Okay. And how confident are you?
30%.
Okay. You'd be right.
Because the new lines are, well, yes. Okay, this is just a problem in our setup, because this is what Eric also mentioned. Is that in our setup we create an empty line here. I'm not sure if we can do this with a was string literal. Well, I guess to quickly fix that, maybe we say something like and was string literal here. Just quick and dirty style.
Yes.
And we plus something and we plus some more. And I removed too much. Where we now something like this. I may have messed up formatting here, but let's see where this goes. Because now no, wait a minute, we still add in, well, if this is null, this doesn't add anything. So this may work. Let's give that a try. We may have a green test soon. Okay, cool. No.
What happened? What's this?
What's this
happened?
Now? Oh, yeah, there is no new line here. Okay, now we don't have because the string ends here, we just append here. We need an, if we set this, then we do need an environment new line here. Oh, but with the white indentation level, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Wow.
I guess, yeah, we do, maybe actually, now that I think about it, we shouldn't create this with a was string literal. Maybe we should actually do this as a proper XML thing as well. Use X document / XML document to create proper XML. But for now, let's do the little hacky thing. Okay. And then as well afterwards, we need environment new line 2, I suppose. and not quite.
Oh.
Is it using the enable?
Yeah.
This is now enable, and then I have the property group on the new line. What do I not understand? No, this is actually print. No, I'm not sure what's wrong.
Yeah.
The expectation or the actual? Let's do a breakpoint here. Inverted expression. Oh, yes.
And that looks pretty.
That
good.
looks pretty. Why is there a new? So I think that's. Why is there new lines? Something's really bad now. But there's. It confuses me. But it kind of looks all right-ish, doesn't it?
Yep.
And if we were to enable it, or just wait a minute, how can we quickly check the inverse? If we no, it's better, isn't it? No. If we say as value, if we turn that around and say if feature is null and use, if we invert that, now it would be the nullable. Okay, it kind of looks all right.
Yep.
But the output still is not quite right, because now those empty lines are gone again. And where are they now gone again? Yeah, this is the same feeling that I have. What's ignoring Parento? Pareto.
Let's ask AI.
Into a hole ignoring Pareto. What does it mean to dig yourself into a hole ignoring Pareto? I don't know what it means. Generally means yourself into a difficult problem situation. Usually do the Pareto principle. That's the 80-20 rule. Okay. I didn't know it's the Pareto principle.
Love it. Yeah, I think at some point we need to do like a compilation of all the episodes we've ever done, and then we also need to like show a number of how many hours we have spent on new line and indentation problems.
Damn it. The answer is undoubtedly too much.
Yes. It's definitely been a big part of our lives. No, but it's still, again, like functionally it works. We do have to fix all of our tests. But yes,
Yeah.
I do agree. It's potentially not the time today. But
Also,
we found a big bug. We fixed it.
Yes, we did.
Did a lot of deleting code, which is always a good thing. Just some optimization, some to-dos. I'm pretty happy. So I think, oh no, don't do it. What? Oh, fix tests.
No, that's the
just in
production
general.
code. Fix XML doc generation
Nice.
with correct indentation and without XML declaration, while keeping previous white spaces. That's the problems we have.
Yes.
Yeah, we kind of haven't progressed really in the last hour. That is
Yeah, but
correct.
it was still fun. Well, I learned about the 80-20 principle and a fancy name for it that I'm not going to remember. I already forgot it. Can you scroll up a little bit? Oh, no, there's Pareto. Pareto principle. Awesome.
And I learned how to use AI assistant a bit better.
And it was a first time using AI on stream.
Oh, yes, that's
assistant.
right. That's right.
Yeah, I thought that was exciting.
Interesting and educational. That makes us so happy. Thank you very much for keeping with us so long.
Yes, and also for your input and the things you spotted.
Thank you. Because the new lines, this is really, we should also
you knew this was coming from the beginning.
Yeah.
You said this would happen like 2 hours ago.
I'll also ask AI assistant here to maybe put in here this war string. Please do this with XML doc or with procedurally or something. Yeah. This would now always be my go-to. Cool.
So when are we going to be here next? All of us, hopefully.
In almost 2 weeks. So 2 weeks plus 1 day. So on Thursday, I think we always have now a 15 days cadence.
Do we?
2 weeks plus 1. I think we Tuesday, Wednesday. Next time is Thursday on October the 17th.
Oh yeah, we do.
And we'll be having a new topic.
Yes.
We are entirely uncertain what yet, but we will have a new topic. Because we now did 6 amazing episodes on nothing.
That's a great way to wrap things up. So thank you for being with us for the last couple of episodes. We've done absolutely nothing, but we did it together, and that's what counts. No, but again, thanks as always for coming on the journey with us and for being with us. It's been a pleasure, and I hope I see you next time as well.
We'll be back.